Freemers and Guardians. If we got some people from the Destiny community watching, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. Today, we are going to be playing a game. What kind of game are we playing today? Well, it's not really a fun game. It's more of a, we're going to see who wins here. Today, I want to have a sort of little game show, you know, little game show between the Free Realms community and the Destiny community. Now, for those who don't know, and I've probably mentioned it a bunch on the channel, I played Destiny after Free Realms shut down. So Free Realms shut down 2014 in, I believe, March. 6 months later, Destiny came out the same year. And that was my go-to game. Like those 6 months in between, like I didn't have like a, I would call it like a live service game to play, because, you know, Free Realms, I mean, it basically was live service, and Destiny is the same. Not like, they're not entirely the same game, but I've always like, I want a game to, you know, be able to play all the time, not just a single player game that I can play and be one and done with it. You know, I wanted a game that I could just play all the time, and I didn't have that. Those 6 months were just so, there was a void there, you know? But yeah, I played Destiny after Free Realms shut down, and yeah, I've loved it ever since. I've been playing Destiny for almost a decade. It's been out for nearly a decade. Sadly, Free Realms has been shut down for almost that long, which sucks. But yeah, today I wanted to kind of see which community, because the Destiny community, they're not 100%, you know, they're not good. The community is like, it's been labeled as one of the worst communities, but you know, I've been a part of the Free Realms community for about the same amount of time. I don't even think like back in the old days of Free Realms, I don't really think I was connected with the community as much as I am now. And it's crazy. So I wanted to kind of, because I know the Free Realms community more now and who they are, what they do, I wanted to see like which community was better or which one was worse. You know, I wanted to see like, hey, maybe, you know, maybe one community is worse than the other. You know, we'll see. But without further ado, let's just jump into this little game that I've created. Okay, so calling this community battle because that's what it is. We're gonna basically see the faults of the Destiny community and see the faults of the Free Realms Sunrise community or Free Realms community, and on top of that, we're also going to see their, you know, positives and, you know, go over their negatives and all that. Now, how do we do this, right? How do we pick a winner, right? I mean, there are no winners or losers, but how do we pick the community that, you know, gets the most points or whatever? We're going to go off a point system, right? Point system, this works. This is the only way we can find out how good the community really is. Now, funny enough, creating this, I realized it's very hard to come up with positive words. Doesn't that suck? I came up with the cons really easily. It was so simple. It was crazy. So, for the pros, inclusive and friendly gets +1, supportive and respectful gets +2, positivity and sympathy gets +5, welcoming gets +10. Now, if the community is like that, they get those points, and I've already allocated the points, so no worries. And then the cons, toxicity and elitism, -1, misogyny and transphobia, -2, racism and grooming, -5, death threats, -10. You'll be shocked at who gets what here, okay? So, without further ado, now that we know the point system, I do have it pulled up on another screen so I can keep track. Let's just jump into it. So, Destiny community, we'll start there, because not a lot of people, if you're from the Free Realms community, you probably don't know what Destiny is. If you know what Destiny is, cool. You know the whole shebang. I've been playing Destiny for nearly a decade, and I know the community, I would say, pretty well. I've been a part of like every, like, I play all the time. I know the community pretty well. not like in depth, but I've been around enough to know how they are. So let's dive into it. So the Destiny community, they meet most of the positive criteria, but have a lot of negative traits attached to it. Destiny community isn't perfect, right? There's a lot of bad eggs. There's a lot of people who are toxic. It gets to that point, you know. It can get bad, but I mean, for the most part, the Destiny community it's okay. It's not terrible. I don't know. I think it's like a field that has a lot of weeds. You gotta weed them out. You gotta get rid of the weeds. And yeah, I've been a part of the community for nearly a decade, so I think I know a bit. Again, I'm not too in depth with the community. Like, I don't have like a set group of people I play with all the time, but I know for a fact there are people that are kind of a yikes, you know. But yeah, let's get into how they scored. So, the Destiny community is inclusive, so they get a +1. They are supportive, +2. Inclusive and supportive, they kind of play the same role because, like, it's for like LFG stuff. Like, I've always done like looking for a group, which gets you with a fire team, because I play alone most of the time. I know it sounds sad, but it's not. It's actually like it creates more of a challenge for me. So I'm not always playing with the group, but when I need to play with the group, I use the LFG, and that's where like the inclusivity and supportiveness comes in. That's how I think the community is, you know, how good they are when it comes to playing with others. There's a lot of positivity in the Destiny community, like tons. There's so much. Lot of positivity. There can be, like, literally when the community bands together and stops being toxic, I mean, there's a lot of positivity. The community is also very welcoming. Very, very welcoming. There are times where, like, you know, when a new expansion launches, for example, like Lightfall just came out, like, the community can be super welcoming to new players, new lights as we call them. Like, they're super welcoming when it comes to new lights. And I think there was at one point a refer a friend program which you could refer a friend into the game, you'd get rewards for doing so, and you can play with them. That program doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, but it was a cool thing at the time. Now, getting into the negatives, because, again, it's mostly positives. The negatives. Toxicity. There's a lot of toxicity in the Destiny community. It's very, like, I feel like it's low-key more than high-key. Like, it's not as public. But there's a lot of angry people out there in the Destiny community. It's like when something gets nerfed, or there's a change that someone doesn't like, or that people are just mad at the game most of the time. That's how it is. So that's a -1. Elitism. So there's a lot of elitism in the Destiny community. I'm sure anyone who is in the Destiny community knows this, but I can give you a really good example. I can give you a couple of good examples, actually, but one that recently happened was there's a new system in Destiny called Guardian Ranks. It's basically you accomplish these things and you rank your Guardian rank goes up. And I'm currently rank 7, but there was a moment where 6 people were doing a raid. 2 of them were rank 8s, 2 of them were rank 7s, and 2 of them were rank 6s. The rank 8s say to the rank 6s, "Shut up, 6s, the 8s are talking." Like, that's super elitism. Like, it's just like, oh, I have a higher rank than you, so you don't get to speak. Like, dude, come on. I just thought that was super funny to me, because, like, who takes the Guardian ranks that seriously, you know? But yeah, so that's one. Another one is when people are doing LFG, they'll post like these super long threads, like, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. That's elitism right there, because, like, dude, I get it. You know, there are certain things that are required for certain encounters. Like, some of that makes sense, but, like, when they're saying, oh, you gotta have this many clears, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, it's like the Destiny community, I think, is really elite when it comes to that type of stuff. So yeah, and then the one you're probably all wondering about, death threats. So why do they get this? Well, it's not like it doesn't happen all the time, but There's some people in the Destiny community on Twitter that have literally like threatened Bungie employees, the people who work on Destiny. So there's been death threats, so they get a -10 for that. They literally lose the welcoming because of that, because there are death threats. And it sucks. It does. -10, dude. That's awful. You don't threaten game devs. Like, it's just a video game at the end of the day. It's just it's wild that, like, you know, toxicity, elitism are one thing, but like death threats, that's too far. It's a video game, right? So, they ended up, the Destiny community ended up scoring 6. Right? After adding up all the totals, subtracting the positives, they get a 6, which isn't bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, you know? Again, I've been part of the Destiny community for nearly a decade, and I love this game. I do. The community, you know, they're okay. I think a 6 shows, like, the Destiny community's okay. They are rough in some areas, but, you know, other than that, it's not bad. It's not all that bad. It could be worse. It could be a lot. It could be the Free Realm Sunrise community. It could be a lot worse. Trust me. Now, getting into the Free Realms portion of this little game we're playing. Free Realms community. So, where do they score, right? It's probably what you all came here for. You're wondering, where did the Free Realms community score? Well, the community meets so much of the negative criteria due to Free Realms not being revived in a timely manner. This is true, by the way. You all are mad that the game isn't out. I get it. It's not out. Go play a different game. Like, that's part of the reason why everyone's being so negative all the time. Like, why there's so much, like, there's so much, I don't know what it is, like, what's the word for it? In, like, the Free Realm Sunrise Discord, it's why there's so much, like, tension, I guess. Like, why everyone's so, like, angry all the time. If you're wondering that, it's because the game isn't out. If the game was out, right? If the game was out, maybe everyone would be happy. Maybe we'd all stop being little negative Nancys, you know? But the game isn't out. So, you know, that's part of the reason why they get so much of the negative criteria. Still, the community managed to score some positive points. There are, don't fret. There's still some positive points here. Never fear, okay? The community does have some redeeming qualities. Some. Not a lot, some. And again, I've been part of this community for nearly the same amount of time as the previous, so I think, well, I joined the Discord in 2018, so about, like, I would say, so 5 years. I don't even know if I'd count the time I played Free Realms. That would be 9 years, technically. But, like, I wasn't, like, super involved in the community when Free Realms was out, so I don't know if I can count that. I might, but I don't know. Anyway, getting on to what the community scored. You guys ready? Boom. So, friendly, +1. The Free Realms Sunrise community, and we'll just say that for now, because it's not the Free Realms community anymore. It's Free Realms Sunrise community, right? So, friendly. The community does score friendly points, you know, to +1. I think it does deserve the +1 score. There are times where the community can be friendly, right? And I'm not even, we're basing this off the entire community, not like not the Freemers community. Like, Freemers, I think we're a separate breed, okay? We're good people, all right? We're good. There's a lot of positivity in our server, but, like, friendly, right? That's get a +1. There are some friendly people in the Free Realms Sunrise community that aren't complete, you know, meanies, that aren't bullies, you know. Welcoming, yes. The Free Realms Sunrise community gets welcoming too. They get welcoming, however, it does not save them. I do think in some cases, like, the community can be welcoming. At least there were times where I saw it, where I saw welcoming when someone joined the Discord. They were asking for help. People would help. That was way back when, so, you know, I mean, it's not really That doesn't really happen anymore. I don't think. Not that I've seen. Not that I've like. Even when I was in the Discord, like, didn't see a whole lot of welcoming. It was more of, when's the game coming out? When's the game coming out? When's the game coming out? All right, now getting into the negatives, because again, there's not. It's like with Destiny, like there was less negatives and there was more positives. With Free Realms, it's the complete opposite. So toxicity. Oh my god, dude, there is so much toxicity. There is so much toxicity. It's like passive aggressive behavior. It's crazy how much toxicity runs in that Discord. It's because the game isn't out though. Like that, I would hope, like, if the game had been out, like if the game was revived and it was revived, like, I don't know, within, I feel like, I don't know, maybe this shouldn't have been announced. I feel like this should have been a low-key project, but like, there's so much toxicity that stems from the community because the game isn't out yet. That's a huge factor, and it's crazy. It's so wild. It's insane, dude. So they get a -1 for that. God, toxicity. Elitism. There was a lot of elitism, like a ton. It's I don't know if it's as much as Destiny, but like, there's some players who are like, you know, I think elitism goes more towards gatekeeping. Like, oh, you're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about this. I feel like that's where the elitism kind of goes. There's also people that think they're better than one another in the Free Realms Sunrise community, which is not true. Weird. But yeah, in terms of like gatekeeping, I feel like that's where elitism comes in. Misogyny. Well, there's a lot of it. Mostly it's in Renegade, but they do get a -2 because there are people that don't respect everyone in the Discord. In the community in general, there's people like that. Transphobia. Yep. There. Believe it or not, there's some of that, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's wild. There's transphobia. I've seen it. Seen it for myself. I have seen it. Racism. Oh boy. Wouldn't you? I'll cover both racism and grooming here. I've seen screenshots that would blow your mind. All right, that would melt your brain to the core. I've seen things that a man should never see. I've made a video on both the topics that I haven't posted yet. I will not be posting it until the game is announced, like for a release date, or if it actually gets a release date, a proper one. So yeah, there's been racism and grooming. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, trust me. If you haven't seen it, I have. Okay. Now the Free Realms community scores a -5. Bad. It's bad. So to kind of put it simply, the Destiny community is better in terms of how they act compared to the Free Realms community. And I just want to point out a couple things before we kind of end this, okay? So, in conclusion, the Destiny community scores higher in the positive criteria, while the Free Realms community scores lower in the negative criteria, right? And then keep in mind, Destiny's game rate T14 is still going strong for a live service game. So yeah, Destiny, it's been going on for nearly a decade, and after, like, when Destiny launched, there was this thing called the 10-year plan, which is how long Destiny would last. Obviously, Destiny 1 lasted until 2016, and then 2017, Destiny 2 came out. Destiny 2 has been going on for, since 2017, so 6 years? And yeah, the 10-year plan is almost up, but Bungie has said that Destiny is still going to go beyond the 10-year plan, so that's good, right? This game has been going for so long, and again, it's rated T for teen, so the fact that there's like not a ton of negative criteria attached to the Destiny community, there's only so few and so little, like there's toxicity, elitism, death threats are a big one, but like, again, it's rated T for teen, but like, you know, the adults in the community are very, you know, they're respectful, so I mean, it's wild that this game has been going for so long, and I think that's why it scores where it scores, because it's not super toxic all the time. Not all the time. And then while Free Realms is a game rated E for everyone, I believe it is, it was considered a children's game and was shut down 2014, nearly a decade, which is nearly how long Destiny has been around for. So, yeah, it's like Free Realms is a children's game, and it scores lower than Destiny did, which is crazy to me. Right? This is a children's game that has transphobia, misogyny, racism, grooming, toxicity, elitism. Dude, like, how? I don't understand that. How? It's weird that a children's game can have all of that in it, and yet Destiny is like, nah, dude, we're good, we're chilling. It's very cringe, you know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's it's frustrating, man. Why are you all so weird? what's the deal? Like, is just a video game. Calm down. Jeez. Now, to wrap this up, I do want to say, what can each community do to improve, right? Obviously, you know, Destiny scored higher than the Free Realms community, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There needs to be improvements, right? So, in terms of Destiny, I mean, if there was one thing I would want to improve, it's how people, like, act in the community. Like, I think that's the main thing. It's act better, like, be better. Because, you know, if you don't, I mean, it's crazy. I think, you know, the community acts very, very elitist. There's toxicity. I think people just need to calm down the Destiny community and just play the game and enjoy it. As far as the Free Realms community goes, because there is no game, it's a little harder to, you know, control how people feel, what they do. But I do feel like, you know, the fact that there's toxicity, elitism, misogyny, or transphobia, racism, and grooming in a children's game blows my mind still. It does. I don't know why any of this goes on in the community. Like, the things I've seen is just, it blows my mind that we can't just be a normal community, why we can't be loving. And again, I do think it's because the game ain't out yet, you know? That's the main reason. If the game was out, I don't even know if, at this point, I don't know if it would fix things if the game was out. If that would fix how the community is. I doubt it would. I feel like, if anything, elitism would grow, toxicity would grow. I really hope that misogyny, transphobia, racism, and grooming would simmer down to an extent, because all of that stuff is so bad. And if that is, oh my god, dude. Oh my god. I don't know. I don't know what the Free Realms community can do to improve. All I'm saying is we gotta change our ways, right? If we can't do that, how are we going to progress as a community? How are we gonna, you know, how are we gonna improve? Dude, we scored a -5. You know, that's a failing grade. That's worse than a failing grade, honestly. I could have done letter grading for this, and it probably still would have been bad. You know, I just think it's sad that the Free Realms community is like this. That it scores lower than a game rated T for teen, which they have very mild negatives. Death threats being the worst one. Still, I don't know. Hopefully we can see improvement for the Free Realms community. I doubt it, but who knows, man. I guess we'll have to see. Maybe when the game comes out, things will be different. Who knows? Anywho, thank you guys for watching. If you did, I appreciate it a ton. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!